Welcome to the National Women's Fitness Academy podcast. We're here to talk about women's health, female hormones, body image, and all things health and fitness.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Women's Fitness Academy podcast. I am Elin, one of your hosts here on the Women's Fitness Academy channel. I'm also a female empowerment coach, and I help women with self-sabotage, all or nothing mindset, and especially binge eating. Today, I am here with someone who I met here in Bali, as tend to happen for me. Like, I feel like half my podcast guests are like, yeah, I met this girl in the gym. So here's another one for you. But this girl actually doesn't live in Bali, or she was actually only on a holiday here, but I trained with her and her then partner. And I was like, well, this girl is a beast. And yeah, started following her on Instagram, and we just connected, and then found out she lives in Dubai, which I was like, wow, that's so cool. And yeah, anyway, now I have beautiful Beth on the podcast. She is a face-to-face personal trainer who lives in Dubai. Like, how cool is that? So Beth, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Ellen. Thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
Yes, me too. And obviously there's quite a time difference from Dubai to Bali, so I'm very grateful for Beth to getting up early to be on the little potty.
Yeah, 7:30 a.m. here, but yeah, we went out and got some steps in first to make sure we've got those creative juices flowing ready for the podcast.
Amazing. Yeah, actually, what's the weather like there now? Like, I don't know, the most boring question ever, but I'm genuinely curious. Like, is it hot? Because I think of like Dubai and I think desert. But is it hot now?
Do you know what? I was thinking that this morning. Like, I was actually quite cold. I was walking around in my jumper this morning, but I feel like the weather changes so quickly in Dubai. Like, I remember just a couple of months ago, it was insanely hot. It gets to December and it drastically cools down. It's still warm. It's not cold. It's still very warm. It's still like easily in the 20s. But you just get a little bit more of a chill in the breeze, which we are very grateful for, because you don't get that in the summer at all. I actually avoided it in the summer as much as possible, which a lot of people in Dubai do, which is why you saw me in Bali.
Yeah. Okay, so wait, how hot does it actually get there?
As in, like, in the UK, we describe it as like a UK winter, because you cannot go outside. So like, that's the way I like to think of it. So in the UK, a lot of people don't go outside in the winter because it's just so cold. But it's like the reverse. In the summer here, it's so hot that you can't really go outside. So you then spend a lot of time in the malls. But I love being outside. Like, that is one downside to living here. It's such an amazing place. Like, honestly, I can't speak highly enough of Dubai, but yeah, like, not being able to go outside makes me a little bit sad. I like that.
Oh my god, that was definitely me when I lived in Oz as well. Like, I'm from Sweden, obviously, and in Sweden it's very much like, it's too cold. Like, if it's more than -15, like, don't go outside, it's too cold. They'll stay inside, like, cuddle up in a movie. And that's what the Aussies were doing, and what I found. They're probably going to be like, oh, Ellen, that's not true at all. But that's what I found, that in summer, I was like, I'm not going outside. It's like 40 degrees outside. I'm going to die. I'm going to melt away.
Yeah, but when you're like from a cold country, you're just like, it's fine, I like the sun, and you just go out and like
go outside and burn to shred straight away.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It is hard though. A lot of people in the summer, like, they still try, and I like running, but it's so hard to run outside in the heat. Like, you literally can't breathe. But some people just will continue doing it. But yeah.
Oh, I don't know how you run outside. Like, in Bali now, it's like 32 or something in degrees, and we had a running workout this morning, and I was dying. And that was only 400 meters.
So when is it hottest in Bali?
The hottest season. Well, I mean, it is quite the same the whole year round, but it's more the humidity changes. So like, now it's very humid, like, because it's rain season. Like, when we're recording this podcast, it's December or November going into December, and this is the rain season for Bali. So this is when I wouldn't come here, because it has actually been quite dry this time, but last year it was pissing down rain every single day. It was all the roads were flooded. The gym got freaking flooded. Like, it was awful. And it's just humid all the time. Like, your hair goes frizzy, and as soon as you walk outside, you start sweating. Like, ugh. I would go when you went, basically. So like June, July, August. That's like, because it's winter kind of here. So it's like a little bit cooler, like cooler breeze. I mean, it's still like 29, 30 degrees, so it's not cold.
Can you tell I'm from the UK and you're from Sweden? Because all we've done is chat about the weather for the for the first part of the podcast. Like, can you get any more British than that?
Yeah, literally. But I mean, people always ask me though, so I feel like here you go, everyone who always asks me, what's the weather like?
Yeah,
when should I come to Bali? Like, there's your answer.
People are the same with Dubai as well. They always think it's like insanely hot, which it is, to be honest. It is insanely hot. But I'd say there's like people say there's about 3 months out of the year where you can't really go outside. But honestly, it gets hot from end of June. End of June. I moved back here in September after being in Oz for 6 weeks, but we will come on to that. But I came back here in September and it probably started to cool down around end of October. Like it was still insanely hot. It's so humid in September. Like I tried to run. It's really hard.
Jesus Christ. Yeah. Anyways, enough about the weather, guys. We're gonna get into the actual conversation now. Sorry, I just had to ask. So I am super curious because I actually don't know this, and I'm sure the listeners are also like, hang on, how did a fitness coach from the UK, like, why did you move to Dubai out of all places?
Oh God, honestly, I don't know where to begin because back in the UK, I wasn't even a fitness coach. I actually used to work in marketing. So I've always been into fitness. It's my hobby. It's always been like the one thing in my life that has stayed consistent from age 13. Like it's the one thing that I can hold. Yes, I've been consistent at. So it's always been like a bit of a hobby. But yeah, I went to school. I got a degree. I followed the system. I did what I thought was right to do. I followed my brother's footsteps and I just ended up going into a marketing role in London. And I did that for 3 years and something wasn't right. I was like, I'm just not enjoying this. I was like on the commute home feeling stressed, anxious, feeling a whole lot of confusion, not getting a lot of value back from what I was doing. And then the world went into lockdown and that was I think a lot of people used that time to we had more time than we'd ever had before. So a lot of people were like thinking and reflecting, and I certainly did. And it was a good highlight of the fact that I was unhappy in my job. And I just had like a light bulb moment whilst running. I'm not like a world-class runner or anything like that. It's just something that I've always had consistently in my life that I've used as a tool to just release some stress. So during lockdown, this is when I started to become a morning person. I'd use the morning to just have some me time before the day began because I didn't really enjoy what I was doing in the day. So anyway, I was on a run, had a light bulb moment and was like, fitness makes me happy. Why can't I do this as a job? Because I feel like we're always programmed to think that you have to like go down the educational route and you have to go to school, get good grades and go to uni, which I'm not putting that down at all. Like I wouldn't change anything. I had a great time at uni, but I just realized that like I wanted to do something that I loved as a job. I wasn't really focused necessarily on the title of the role or how much money it would bring in. I was like, nope, I'm going to choose happipiness and I want to do something that I enjoy. So yeah, I just had a bit of a light bulb moment, decided to just quit my job with no backup plan, actually. The plan was to get my PT qualification, which I did, but I wanted to get it as quickly as possible. So I quit my job and I just made it my full-time, like I studied it full-time. A lot of people do it alongside. A lot of people do it the more sensible way. They keep their job, they do it in their free time, and then they make the switch once they've got a client base and once they are ready. But no, I just went with it as I do with every decision in my life. And then I got a job as a personal trainer in London. We went into lockdown again, so I couldn't start that job. Which meant now that I had signed a flat in London with no income because the gym didn't open. I was ready to get working. I did have a partner alongside me at the time, but I'm not the kind of girl that likes to rely on that completely. So I was like, okay, I need to do something here. So what I did then was start online workouts, which I am like, we're growing up drama was my worst subject. I used to absolutely hate being on a camera. I used to hate speaking in front of people. I was so shy. I literally used to say to my older brother at school, how many days left until I can drop drama? Because like you had to hold it for a certain amount of time. Like you had to
God, I loved it.
I was the worst. Like I was honestly, I just was so shy. Like I just had no self-belief. I was just a shy child. Like I just didn't like everyone looking at me, and that was just, yeah, the way I was. So yeah, I dropped it. Don't know where I got with that, but basically a lot of this, well, what I had to do for this role was go on camera and speak and just be myself and do a workout, which terrified me, like literally terrified me. I'd actually say, I don't know, the anxiety I had the night before, I don't think I slept. Also, when I put it out there, a lot of the people that signed up were like my friends from school. It was all people, because I'm from quite a small town in the UK. A lot of people that were on, it was all people that knew me, which made it even worse, I think. Felt like I had a little bit of a expectation. So what I did, I put it out, I charged £10 per month.
So that's like 20 Aussie dollars. That's so cheap. $5 a week. Oh my God.
Yeah, per month. And I committed to 4 live workouts a week, and I wrote the program, and I went on Instagram. I created a separate account, and I delivered the live workouts. I was so shy and unsure of myself that I capped it at 30 people, because I thought 30, like, I don't know why. That's just what I did. I had that number in my head. So I said, I'm only going to take on 30 people for this challenge, this January challenge. And within 30 minutes, like 30 people had signed up, and I just had £300 in my bank account and was like, okay, interesting. But then I was like, shit, I need to actually do the work now. I have a whole month of live workouts. So yeah, I just set up my little ring light in my living room and just went and did it. I've actually deleted all of the old workouts because I'm that embarrassed by them. Well, I'm not embarrassed. It's so funny how far I've come from then until now. And it's only been a couple of years. I was just so awkward on camera. I was just like, hi, like I just can't watch it back. So yeah, I probably should have kept them for memories actually, but I deleted them. And then I was going to stop it after month 1. I was like, it's just a way to just get a little bit of money. My friends were like, why are you going to stop this? It's doing good and you're doing a good job. Do another month. So I did another month and I opened it up, and then I had 80 people. That was in February. And then by April, I had 200 people doing it each month. So £10 doesn't sound like a lot of money. But when you have 200 people doing it, and I'm doing like 4 workouts a week, it's kind of like a nice little side thing that I had alongside my PT. Then the gym opened back up. I actually did it. We were in lockdown for 3 months. So I did it January. This was, 2021. January 2021 to April 2021 was when I started it. And this is when the whole, like, I don't want to sound too like cringe, but like me, like finding myself, like coming out of myself a little bit more, believing in myself, doing something that I really wanted to do, and like finding that happiness. I remember I actually like cried happiness after some of the workouts because I was just so happy. Like I couldn't believe I couldn't believe that I was doing something that I was so scared to do, but I did it, and I just felt so amazing. I think there's a audio going around on Instagram at the moment that's like, I wish I could tell her that the things that scare her the most would change her whole life. And like, it's just so true. It's so true. It's just so true. And like, you just have to really push through just that real scary part. Like that might not be scary to some people, but that was so scary for me. And it gets easier. It gets less scary. The more you do scary things, the less scary they become. They just become your normality. And what's the worst that can happen?
Yeah.
You just mess up. Like, we're just human. It's fine. I think this comes with age, though. It's a maturity thing with age as well. It's a whole other subject.
Yeah, but I think it's like, I think it's so, like every single time we do workshops and stuff here in Bali and we have girls coming over from the retreat, like the number one thing that's holding them back is exactly what you're saying. Like they're scared that people from their hometown, usually people that they know, are going to say nasty things about them, or they're going to judge them, or they're going to be like, oh, well, what if I stuff up and like that girl from high school is going to see me and she's going to tell everyone else that I went to high school with. And it's so funny how we're like letting other people's opinions, well, not even their opinions, just like what we think that their opinions are, control us.
Yeah.
But in reality, they're probably just looking at it like, oh yeah, go Beth, awesome. And then just getting on with the day. Whilst you're sitting there having a full-blown panic attack because you're so scared of posting.
Yeah, we're always really hard on ourselves. And also, if there is any negative feedback, it's always just like a reflection of that person. Like it's nothing about you. And it's always, if there are people out there that get enjoyment of bringing other people down, then like I don't want to be associated with them anyway. Like it doesn't offend me if people like that don't like me. Anyway, I do like to be liked by people. I feel like I'm a bit of a people pleaser.
I mean, that is just a normal thing though. Like we're programmed to want to be liked by people. And I think that sometimes, in the whole like self-development, because I obviously work with a lot of like mindset clients or only mindset clients. And I think a big thing is like, oh, well, why do I still care about like what other people think? It's like, you're meant to. Like if you weren't part of a tribe back in the day, you would literally die. Like if you got pushed out, people didn't like you, there's no way you would survive. So caring about what people think is actually normal, but we just have to choose which people's opinions that we care about and choose to not care about freaking Tom, Beth, and Harry that we don't even know, we haven't seen since high school. Like,
yeah, no, totally. I agree. I don't think I actually answered your question then, did I? I still haven't.
Sorry, I interrupted you. It was my fault. So yes, you were doing the workouts online, you were killing it, getting loads of clients, you started doing PT in the gym in London. Then what happened?
Yeah, so I had those two running alongside each other. I honestly thought the workouts were going to be a 3-month thing, but just made it happen, continued it. Ended up doing it for 2 years. I liked my London life. I was happy. I wouldn't say I had a bad life. I was sort of building momentum. Like I then had the courage, because I had the courage to do the workout. I then felt like, oh, I have a bit more courage to do something even bigger now. And I just London is a great place to live, but I've just always felt that the world is so big. And well, I haven't felt that, it's a fact. It's not, I haven't felt that, it's a fact. The world is so big, and I just think there's so much out there. We get one life, it's so short, and I just need to go and see what else is out there. Like I cannot just stay in one place. I am the kind of person that thrives on change. Like I do like a challenge. I like to be tested. If there is a hard route and if there's an easy route, I'm going to pick the hard one. If there's a comfortable route and an uncomfortable, I'm going to go with the uncomfortable, because I know all of the benefits that come out of the side of picking the hard options. Like you're going to grow and you're going to get way more positive things out of the harder options than you would just sticking comfortable. Like that, I can promise you. But you just have to go through that horrible time first, but it gets better. But yes, so I was comfortable. That was the honest truth. I was comfortable. I was 27. I had a lovely boyfriend beside me. We were like best friends. I would say it kind of like became, in my opinion, sorry, more like not friends. There was obviously more to it than friends, but we were together for quite a long time. It was like over a 5-year relationship. We were living together, and I just wanted a little bit more spark, a little bit more intimacy. This is nothing on him. This is nothing that I voiced. It's not his fault at all. You know how it is when you're just in a a long-term relationship, and you just get comfortable. And yeah, I kind of got to the point where I was like looking for change, looking for excitement, looking for a bit of adrenaline. I don't know how or why. That was just where it was leading. And especially going down the fitness route, I feel like I was just becoming a slightly different person. When our relationship was built around like alcohol, boozing from Friday to Sunday. Sorry, I need to cough again. Yeah, but like going out in London from Friday to Sunday, and I just was becoming a slightly different person. So yeah, do you know what? Really funny. I was actually going to move to Australia. That was always where I was going to go. I had itchy feet. I always wanted to travel. My boyfriend didn't. There was a point in our relationship where he was like, I'll come with you. And then he's very career driven. He wanted to stay and work his way up the ladder. And he ended up deciding, I don't want to go with you. And I've thought, this is something I really need to do and I want to do. So let me just go on holiday on my own, see how that goes. And I actually booked a trip to Dubai in February. He wanted to save money and said, I'm not going on any more holidays with you. We've spent too much money. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to go on my own. So I booked a holiday to Dubai on my own in February. This was February 2022 now. And I went there and I was just meeting people out here. I met two guys that were like, I was in a gym yesterday and Tyson Fury walks in with Tommy Fury.
What?
And he was like, yeah, because they're always out here for like boxing fights. And then he was like, and now we're training Tommy Fury tomorrow. And he's like, these are the kind of opportunities that you get in Dubai. You never know who you're talking to. It's a thriving place for fitness. Why on earth are you going to move to Australia and not here? And they would just a few people said that to me. Yeah. I've been to Australia since, and I love Australia, by the way. Nothing against Australia, but at this point in my life, I just made, again, a very impulse, rash decision. Okay, Dubai. I thought it's a bit closer to home. My mum will be a bit happier. It's a little bit closer. It's a 6-hour flight. The weather's still nice. I thrive in the sunshine and blue sky. So I was like, okay, right, let's give Dubai a go. And honestly, that's it. That is literally it. There's no real incentive. Again, I had absolutely no plan in terms of moving out here. I got a one-way flight with no job and no plan, like nothing. Guess that is literally just how I roll. I don't like to have a plan, because I think if I go out with a plan, I already think that I'm restricting myself. Okay, I've got a plan, so I have to do that job. I have to live here and I have to turn down opportunities. Whereas if you go with no plan, you're open-minded and you can see what comes to you. You can like explore options. You're way more open. And that's just how I like to be, because then it just gives me more time, and it just makes me know that I can find what is right for me rather than just going for the first option.
Yes, I absolutely love that so much. And I think like it's so funny you say that, because I had a conversation with my coach this morning and she's like, you're planning too much, like you need to let go of it, because you're restricting yourself of how much is actually possible for you. And something you saying it as well, I was like, yes, I heard that already today.
Really?
But it is so freaking true. And it's something that, living over here in Bali, it's something that I'm really starting to learn, that not having to plan every single part of my day, not having to, like in Sydney, it kind of is in that mindset that you need it. Like if we're going to go for coffee, I need to tell you 2 weeks in advance, because you have so many things on and I have so many things on, that we need to find a one time slot in 2 weeks that we can plan and go for a coffee. And that's basically the life there. And I was like, oh, this is fine. I'm used to it. It's what people do. And then you move here and people can't even make plans like for this coming weekend, because they're like, no, I want to see what happens. I want to see what I feel like on the weekend. And moving here, coming from such a strict controlled mindset, is so hard. But now I love it. Like it drives my mom crazy, because she's like, when are you coming home? Can you just book your freaking flights? I know. And I'm like, I don't know, like maybe I'll feel like coming on that day, maybe I'll feel coming this day. And it's a bit expensive for the flight tickets, but it's just,
oh my god. Christmas flights, super expensive.
Yeah. But it is like, anyone who's listening and who's feeling like they are trapping themselves in making too many plans and planning and micromanaging every single part of your life, like there's so many more things that you can have, and so that will come to you once you just start trusting and you just surrender to whatever happens basically.
So true. Surrendering and trusting. You have to have that. And faith. Those three things. Like you have to have those three things. Yeah. It's really funny that you say that, because Dubai actually is a place where you do also have to plan 2 weeks in advance for a coffee. Like it is so fast paced. I cannot even explain. Like it's just, you have those good group of girls around you and you know that you're only going to see them like once a month, but that's just how it is here. That is honestly just how it is. So it's a bit contradicting to what I just said, but I also still like to find my free flow even in places of where it's super busy, and I think that is possible still. Definitely got the vibe from Bali about like that people just love to have that chilled, easy, not easy way of life, shouldn't say that, but just more chilled out approach to life, which I love about Bali. It's on my list as well. I'll be coming there now.
Right, so you move to Dubai, you go to Dubai, one-way ticket, all of a sudden you're like, fuck it, I'm just gonna stay here. How did you go with like getting an apartment, making friends, getting a job?
So the first thing I did was book a month Airbnb, and I was actually really lucky. I did have a friend that came with me. It was a guy who was on a very similar journey to me. We weren't close, actually. We knew, like I said, I'm from a small town, so we knew of each other, but we weren't like close friends. We had a mutual friend who put us in a group chat and was like, you two, come together.
Be friends.
Be friends and move to Dubai. She wanted to bring two of her friends with her. So like we met up, we went to the beach, and we just was like, shall we do this together? Like we just had to check that we were on the same sort of wavelength. And yeah, so I was lucky. I wasn't completely alone. It was a friend. And we shared an Airbnb. So in terms of financial element, luckily we were able to split it 50-50, because I don't know if you know, but Dubai is a crazy expensive place.
I've heard.
So yeah, we had an Airbnb for the first month. What I did, I didn't know anyone here. I'm a walker. I love to be outside. I tried to walk around and find the gyms. I literally was on my map. So, okay, there's a gym there. I'm going to walk there. I soon realized you can't walk anywhere in Dubai. Like you need a car. Like you can walk places, but there's one public transport metro that is a straight line like through the city.
Because if you can't walk because it's so big or it's busy, or
it's not made for walking. And people did tell me this, but I'm like, no, I'm going to walk. So for example, if you saw in the UK, if you could see a building across the road, you could just cross the street.
Yeah.
You cannot cross the street in Dubai. There's not like bridges. There's not pavements really. It's huge roads that, yes, you can see the building over there, but it may take you, well, you can't get there by foot because you'd be walking across 8 lanes on a busy. You would get hit by a car if you tried to cross the road. Yeah, okay. So what you would have to do is get in a car. You think that, okay, yeah, the building's close, it's just over the road, but the way that the road system is built here, you have to like almost go back on yourself, do a loop, go back on the other side. So it will take you can see it, but it may take you 15 minutes by car to get there. It's just the way the roads are built here. And honestly, it took me a little while to get used to that. Like many stressful situations where I've just been annoyed at like Dubai in general. Like I hated it. I was like, why are the roads like this? But you just adjust like anything in life. So yeah, you have to taxi everywhere. But I didn't have a lot of money with me. Like I just came with some savings that I needed for rent. So I reduced as much taxis as I could get as possible. And I tried to walk. Like I would walk in the humidity of like 40-degree heat. I remember going into supermarkets just to cool down and then I would leave again. I also didn't have any phone data yet. I hadn't set up my phone out here. It was something that I needed to do. So I think this is going to make me sound really silly, but this is just what I did. I would look at where the gym was on Google Maps and I would print screen the map and I would go and walk and I would follow like I'm old school, like an actual map. But it's a phone and it's not very clear. But I would get there, honestly, time and time again. The guy that I came out here with, he already had a job lined up. So we were on separate journeys. Even though we were here, we shared our rent, we were living two very different lives. So we didn't really pass much in the day. He would be like, are you going on another adventure, Beth? And I'm like, yes, I am. And I'd be gone for like 12 hours. And he'd always be relieved when I made it home. So that was just another part of like building momentum. Like it sounds silly, but it was, again, just proving to myself, I can make it there and I can make it back in this random country when I don't know where I'm going. My mum would have said that I'm absolutely crazy and stupid. And I actually probably was a little bit at times, but I always made it back. Like I always did. Anyway, long story short, I just went to as many gyms as possible. I think I went to at least 10 gyms in the first week, which doesn't sound like loads, but they were all over the place. And then what I realized as well, like the gyms, where they're in these like industrial warehouses in Dubai. It's not like you can just walk around the street. I was walking around an area called Al Quoz in Dubai. It's like warehouses, lots of like garages, really like run down looking area, but there's a lot of great gyms there. And like I didn't know Dubai, so I just went to where the gyms were on the map, and like you could clearly spot the Brita board. Like there was no one walking, literally just me, and like just fully lost in this area. And I went to one gym and I had an interview there, and he was like, are you going to walk to the next gym? I was like, well, yeah, it says it's 10 minutes. And he's like looking at me like I'm crazy. He's like, okay, take this. And he gave me like 8 water bottles. And I'm like, okay. Anyway, I always made it. That's the point. Always made it. And then I just didn't settle. I just went to as many gyms as possible. If it didn't work out, the worst case scenario in my mind was, okay, I'll go home. Like, I'm not going to accept the first gym just because I need it. I'm going to keep looking until I get a vibe and one that I can see myself in every day. So that's what I did. I just went to all the different locations and I found one eventually. And and then had an interview and started working there. It was a whole process, but I won't talk for too much because I think I'll be going for ages, but started working there. And then we just kept renewing our Airbnb for the time being, because we weren't sure, me and my friend, whether we were going to live together, whether we would go our separate ways. I decided I wanted to live alone because I hadn't done that. I've always lived with friends. I moved out when I was 18. I've always lived with other people, but I hadn't ever been fully independent. I'd always had someone by my side. And again, I just wanted to prove to myself I can do this. So I got a flat on my own. And one of my biggest goals was just to be financially independent and happy in my work. That was like my goal for last year. So I just wanted to make that happen. That was that.
Wow. No, I actually love that you were just like, no, screw it. I'm just going to walk. I'm just going to print screen the map and I'm just going to get there. And I actually feel like walking is one of the best ways you can see a place and learn how to get around. And just like when you're in a car, you're so focused on like traffic and like braking and the other cars, but when you're walking, you can actually like take in what you're seeing and take in the environment and, you know, talk to people. I mean, no people to talk to in Dubai, sounds like everyone's just driving.
Depends where you are. There's a lot of people in some places. It's actually so overly populated here, but yeah, no one walks by foot in the desert in September.
Yeah, probably a good idea. If you go to Dubai, guys, do not walk. But another thing that I also absolutely love is that you didn't just take the first possible gym. You were like, nope, I know that there's a gym out there for me that specifically that I'm gonna like, because I think that moving to a new country, or like, you know, looking for a new job, same thing, like a lot of girls listening to this podcast are newly qualified trainers. And I think when we first start out with something, it can be quite easy to just be like, I'll take anyone, like anyone who wants to work with me or anyone who want to hire me. Like, I don't care if you're the dodgy little gym under like some random like men's building, like I don't care, I just need to work somewhere. And that you were able to just trust yourself and be like, no, this isn't for me, I'm gonna find one that is for me. And now you're there and you absolutely love it. I think that's so cool. Yeah,
exactly. I've actually since left that gym. I'm now in a new role. I coach online. Sorry, I do coach online classes as well, but my new role out here is in-person coaching. So more like group exercise, which again, when I moved out here, would have scared me a lot. And I don't think it's like, I always believe in timing. And a year later to moving out here, I've landed the job that I wanted originally, but I just wasn't quite in the right headspace. I didn't really know the people in Dubai, I didn't have the connections. I don't think I was like mentally ready for this role right now, because this is almost like a step up in terms of, again, have had to really step out of my comfort zone and challenge myself. A lot of the people in this role that I'm in now come from like a drama background. They're a performer, they're a dancer. Yeah, and they're like, what did you do? I was like, one-to-one PT. And they look at me like, okay, one-to-one PT, but now so I teach like group exercise, but it's a really amazing company out here called the Platform Studios. They're like a boutique studio. They're known as one of the top studios out here, and it's about delivering that experience with the music. And obviously it's all about the coaching as well, which is something that I bring to my classes out here. But it's like you are the motivator for these people for that hour, and you have to really deliver and put that on to them. So it's totally different to one-to-one PT. And oh god, it's a whole other story as to how I got there. But it's my year in Dubai, because I've been here a year now, just over, like just the hardest and best year of my life, like the most challenging, but the most rewarding, and the growth that has happened with being uncomfortable. I can't even put it into words. I, in a way, wish we could all go through in the nicest way possible a really hard time, because you'll realize how good it is for you.
Oh god, yeah. Oh, 100%, 100%. And like, I've been in Bali now for a little bit over a year. And I always say to people that want to move here that be prepared that it's going to suck. Like the first few months that I was here, I hated it. I was sick all the time. I had no friends. I had no routine. I didn't know what I wanted to go with my life. Like all of the trauma that I've been pushing back when I was in Australia just come surfacing because I had no friends to hang out with to distract me. I had nothing going on. It was just me with my thoughts. And that's what happens when you move somewhere on your own. That's when you don't have a job, when you don't have a routine. You like, people think it's an escape, but it actually brings you back more to reality than anything else, because you realize that everything else was the distraction. So,
and I think people always try and what a lot of people don't do is they don't sit in that uncomfortable stage for long enough to get to the good stage. It gets uncomfortable and they're like, no, I'm going home. This is too hard. I can't do this, which I could have done so many times. I cannot tell you, in the first 3 months of moving to Dubai, oh my God, I could have got up and left. Me and my friend were like, how long are we going to do this? Should we give it 6 months and then see where we are at 6 months? Like, it absolutely sucked. During the times where it sucked, there was also so many high points as well. Like, we'd go and get drunk at a beach club and be like, let's just go and live this Dubai life. Like, it was a journey, and yeah, I could have easily turned away. But I think as humans, we're so good at adjusting, and people don't allow, like, they don't like change. They decide that they don't like change, but change is one of the best things. Like, it really does make you grow, but you have to sit through that uncomfortable stage first, which just not a lot of people are willing to do, but it's so good if you do.
Yeah, honestly, it is the best thing ever. Like, moving here is the best decision I've ever made. Like, honestly, 100%. So I think it's super, super cool. And thank you so much for sharing your story. I think it's super inspirational. You did also mention before that you went to Australia for a bit, and that was something that, you know, that you wanted to originally move there and maybe potentially still could. What was the reason? Like, did you just go on a holiday, or like, what were you there for?
So, you know, I said I wanted to be independent, completely independent on my own. Like, it was so funny. On New Year's Eve, I was with my friends going into 2023. My New Year's resolution, I don't know why I said to them, I was like, I'm going to live my, like, you know, like Emily in Paris. Have you seen the documentary? Or like Carrie Bradshaw? I know she has guys around her, but like that whole like sassy, independent girl in a new city. I was like, this is my year, all right? I'm just going to go and live. I said that to my friends. I was like, boys, like, they can come and go. Like, that's fine. I don't want anything serious. I just want to focus on my business, my happiness, and just me. At the end of January, I met a man. So my New Year's resolution lasted 3 weeks. And
way though, the universe is like, we'll see about that.
Yeah, let's test her. I was at a CrossFit competition. I was since moving to Dubai, I've got, my fitness has improved massively, and I've been getting into competitions. So I was at a CrossFit comp, and crossed paths with an Australian who was also in Dubai, and it just moved very quickly. I'm not the kind of guy that entertains something unless I think that it's worthwhile. And I just felt like we really clicked, like in the least cringiest way possible. It was like a bit of like, not a fairy tale. I don't want to say that, but I was like, I don't want to say that, but like, I felt like
not a fairy tale.
It's not a fairy tale, but it is. Well, it didn't end like one anyway. Definitely didn't end like one. But ended like a horror movie. But
oh God,
anyway, yeah, so it moved very quickly. He was really into me, I was really into him, and I just let it in, as always. And as you might have like guessed or got the sense of during this chat already, like, if something feels right, I'm going to lean into it. I'm not going to try and control it. I'm not going to use my logical side, which is, again, not always smart, but I truly stand by this. I go with my gut and what feels right. And I just lent into it. I was like, okay, I did have this plan, but this has happened. And actually, why would I push love away? Why would I push my happiness? Why would I stop doing something that makes me happy? Why? I'm not going to do that. So I just allowed myself to be vulnerable. I lent into it. And we spent 4 months together here, like most weekends. Looking back now, I did make him my priority, and I did probably put my friends out here a little bit on the back burner, and every weekend was with him, but I was just in like a bubble. So long story short, he obviously is an Australian and he had his business and his house and he was very rooted back there. I'm not sure he was in Dubai for the long run anyway, to be honest. So he went back to work on his business, and we just did a little bit of long distance. And then we met in Bali because it's not a halfway point, but we just thought it's a good place to meet. Also, it's a little bit closer to Australia. It was still a 9-hour flight for me, but I was like, yeah, let's just meet there. That was when we met, me and you, at Wanderlust. So yeah, I was with him then. We did like a week there and then went our separate ways again. And then he was like, why don't you come to Oz in the summer? Again, we'll go into all long story short. I left my job because I always wanted to just step aside from that a little bit. That was never going to be super long term where I was there. So I left my job. I just decided to go for the summer and just see, because like I said at the start of the podcast, I always was keen to see what Australia was like. It was always somewhere that I wanted to live before Dubai. Everything was kind of like, I was like, okay, maybe this is like the universe giving me like the comfort and the security and like the true, like wholesome, grounded stuff that maybe like I've not really had. I've always like chased the adventure and I've chased like the chaos in a weird way, and the challenge, but maybe this is just the universe telling me I'm just going to slow down and this is what you need. And so yeah, I went there for 6 weeks in the end, July, in August into the first 2 weeks of September. And yeah, Australia was amazing, like just insane. That was a really good test for the relationship, which is what my friends said to me. They were like, go living together for 6 weeks, it will be a good test. You'll find out a lot of things about each other, which they were extremely right. It went awful. Saw sides to this person that I did not know existed. Really just, yeah, scary sides to see, like when you just haven't seen that in that person before. And I just knew that I couldn't settle and I couldn't tolerate the kind of stuff that I was having to put up with. Again, this was probably the hardest thing I've ever had to do and go through in my life, was to leave someone that I loved, because I knew that I deserved more. But I just knew it had to be done. If I wanted to be happy in the long run, there was no way I could put up with this. He would apologize and he'd say, I'm going to fix it and I'm going to make it right. But the bottom line is it shouldn't have happened in the first place. And when someone disrespects you like that and they're supposed to be your safe place and someone that loves you, I just think there's like, you just don't. I am for second chances if it's genuine, and I get that people make mistakes, but this was way past that. This was just unforgivable. So yeah, I had to come back to Dubai, and I was broken, a complete broken mess, because 2 weeks prior to that I was moving to Australia. This was my home and I was gonna build an online business out there. I just really like got my heart set on this future plan. I was so happy about it. Then I had to fly back to Dubai. I literally, for the whole 11 hours or however long it was on the flight, 11, just cried. I think the person next to me was like, is this girl okay? I got back to my flat, I opened the door and was like, this isn't home. I actually didn't like Dubai when I came back, because Australia is such an amazing place, and like I love the chilled out lifestyle. I just got really happy there. So came back, didn't view Dubai as home, and I thought, round 2, we've got to do this again. And I was like, I've done it before, I'm doing it again, round 2, just with a little bit more knowledge and a little bit more heartache, but I can do it. So I then did the same thing again. I went for interviews with roles. I had 3 job interviews. I got 3 offers. I declined all 3 in the first month. Whilst alongside, yeah, I know, again, people would think I'm crazy. And they were really good jobs. They were really good. But I was like, no, it's not right. It's not right. And my flat contract they needed an answer within 2 weeks as to whether I was going to renew. So I had 2 weeks to decide what to do. I was so close to packing up my bag. I fell in love with Australia so much. I almost was going to get up and go there. But then I felt that I was running. I did. I felt that, no, I need to sit with this and face it. So I basically, what I've done in a very short space of time, within 6 weeks, I basically rebuilt my life in Dubai again. And it now feels like home again. Like the fitness community out here is absolutely insane. The people in Dubai just amazing. Like everyone here is encouraging you to be better and do better. There is zero negative energy here. Everyone is just thriving and just wants to live a great life. And you have no choice but to level up in Dubai. Like you really don't. You cannot not level up here. Everyone is doing better. You just go with the people here. And honestly, I would not be sat here feeling this happy and this comfortable or just grounded without the people around me. I swear to God, I could not have brought myself out of the hole that I was in 6 weeks ago without the people in Dubai. I really couldn't. Like they checked in on me, they delivered flowers, like they took me for lunch, they took me for breakfast, they got me out of the house. I just had 2 weeks of just, it sounds really dramatic, but at the time it really was to me. I know there's so many bigger things going on in the world, but I did feel like I was mourning something. I know the guy's not dead, but who I fell in love with was not the person that I found out that he turned out to be. So I just had 2 weeks of letting myself to be still and do nothing. I put zero pressure on myself to find a job. If one comes up, great. I just needed 2 weeks to cry. I needed 2 weeks to be sad. I needed 2 weeks to listen to a podcast and go on walks and just be with good friends and good company. And I had to do that to come out the other side. What he's done is just run from the problems and just pretend it never happened and mask it all. And I think when you do that, you're never going to recover, and it's just going to happen time and time again. So it's really important to face your sadness or face your issues, sit in it, and feel what you need to feel in order to move on. Like it's so important to do that.
Yeah. Wow. I don't even know what to say. I'm just so impressed by you and who you are. Like you have so much more depth than I already knew you were an amazing person, but how extremely resilient you are, how much you have your own back and how much you trust yourself. I don't think there's many people out there like that. Like, I don't think there's many people who would be like, 3 job offers. Nope. I know that I don't have any money right now, but they weren't right for me. So I'm just going to trust something better will come along. Nope, it's okay. I'm not going to run to Australia. I'm not going to run home because I'm feeling sad. I'm going to sit with this. I'm going to trust that it gets better. And even with the guy, like a lot of women, I did this with my ex-partner. I was like, no, he will probably change. Like that person that I fell in love with, he's still here, and stayed way too long. And so many people do this. And I wish I had your courage and your resilience back then when I was 23. But I mean, everything is a lesson, right? But I just think it's so inspiring. I think that so many people probably needed to hear exactly what you've just told them. So thank you so much for sharing. I think this is probably my favorite interview that I've ever done. I think it's been so amazing to just...
You know what's weird is I've just touched the surface, I think. I could go into
back for a round 2.
Yeah. Well, no, thank you for having me. It's been
wow.
great.
Yeah, I think it's so amazing, everything that you have gone through. And yeah, I will definitely be in touch.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you so much for having me. Honestly, like the older I get, I realize like I get enjoyment out of helping others see their strength, their potential, because I was that girl as well. I was her, and I still am her. I still am. There's still parts of me where like I don't feel strong, I don't feel worthy, but I do these hard things to prove to myself that I am, and everyone else can do it as well. Like they 100% can. So we'll end on that.
Yes. Oh, I love it so much. And I think, I just want to send this to every single girl who's doubting herself, or who's heartbroken, or who doesn't know what she wants to do. And like, just listen to this.
Yeah.
Send it to all your friends, guys.
Absolutely.
Well, we will link your Instagram profile in the show notes. Is there anything like, can people reach you in somehow? Like, can they, like, is there any way to work with you, or do you have to actually be in Dubai to work with you?
At the moment, yes, I'm still on my journey of building my career and going down the route that I want to go down, which absolutely is coaching women online and reaching a wider audience. 100% that is coming. At the moment, you can just send me a DM, and they are always open. I will give you any advice, free advice, just a chat if you need. Just pop me a DM. You can chat to me on there for now. But at the moment, yes, I'm coaching in person in Dubai. But hopefully in the future, be online.
Yes. Amazing. Yes. Keep sliding into her DMs and tell her that she needs to get this online stuff sorted.
Yeah, slide into my DMs in a nice way, not how he did. I've got a bit of post-traumatic stress disorder of people sliding into my DMs after that experience with him. But yeah, all female positive DMs are welcome.
Yeah. But we have many female listeners, so I think that will not be an issue here. Guys, as usual, please make sure you do take a screenshot of the podcast, you share it on your stories, you tag me, tag Women's Fitness Academy, tag Beth. Send this podcast to all your girlfriends who are going through a breakup, who are going through a hard time, who are going through a big life decision. Like, I think this is something I definitely would have needed to hear when I was struggling. You know, anyone who's moving countries even, like, that is a huge, huge thing. So thank you so, so much again. Thank you, Beth. Thank you, everyone who's listened. And I will talk to you all next week. Bye.